Good afternoon. My name is Max Parker. I'm president of the Board of Trustees for San Angelo Independent School District. I'd like to welcome you all to our regular meeting of November 14th, 2022. We have a quorum. We have all our board members present, and I appreciate everyone being here. We've got quite a bit on our agenda tonight, and I know some of you are here to see some of the recognitions we have, but we're also going to have some recognitions for Veterans Day, and I appreciate all our students and teachers and administrators that have helped put this together. Before we get started in those things, I want to invite Pastor Hernandez from the Solid Rock Church to present our invocation.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we're so thankful to you for all your blessings and provision. And Lord, we thank you that you allow us to be a part of this wonderful community of San Angelo and this great school district. And for all the things that we are able to join together and work toward furthering the education of these students. We thank you for your hand upon this district, for all the teachers, students that will be recognized tonight, especially. Lord, we just pray that your hand would be upon all our campuses throughout the year, protect them, guide them as they move forward, and teach our children not only educationally but in their personal growth as well. And Lord, I pray for this meeting tonight, our board. I thank you for their sacrifices they make to serve. And I pray that you would give them wisdom and direction, guidance, courage, vision as they lead us forward. Lord, we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, I don't know exactly how we're going to do all this. We've got choirs that are going to be coming up. We've got the color guard, and we've got 4 Holloman Elementary students, which I'm going to invite those students to come on up. That is John Rodriguez, Cooper Harridge, Natalie Martin, and Jenslyn Hamilton. So you 4 come up right in front of me, right over here. Cooper, John, Natalie, you come right over here. And then I'll let our choirs come on up. Or you know where do you listen? There you are. And while they're coming up, I'll read my script that I've been given that will help explain some of this. The Central High School and Lakeview High School Combined Junior ROTC Color Guard will present the colors. The Holloman Elementary students that I just introduced will recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag and the Texas flag. And our Central High School and Lakeview High School Combined choirs will sing Salute to the Armed Forces to welcome our guests from the National Math and Science Institute, the Department of Defense, and Goodfellow Air Force Base. So would everyone please stand? if all of you'll stay here, we're going to, the ROT is going to come back and we're going to allow photos to be taken. Any parents that want to come up and take photos will be able to take photos. So ROTC, if you want to come back. And parents, if you want to come up, get closer to take photos, come on up. Let's give them another big round of applause. Okay, John, Natalie, y'all can go now. Thank you. One of the biggest perks of being a board member is when we can have our students in our district, that we can recognize them, and when they can perform like they did today, it's just it's very inspiring to us. So we really appreciate all the sponsors and administrators and you parents that helped this to happen tonight. Now we have more recognitions where we get to honor some more of our students, and this time I'm going to turn it over to Rodney Chant, our athletic director.
Thank you, Mr. Parker, Board of Trustees, Dr. Deathloff. Tonight we have some recognitions from our fall sports, those that went above and beyond the call of duty and far in the playoffs. And so first off, I'd like to start off with the Central Tennis team led by Brent Albalez.
Okay, I don't really know how to introduce and do all these things all the time. I read the instructions and everything. But it's hard because we have our fall season and it's our team season, and we have some kids that we go as a team, but we also have individual honors too, so it makes it a little bit tough. But to start off real quick, I just want to thank you to the admin, our principals, our athletic directors, especially our booster club. They were able to fund us this year twice and do that, and we use those funds for a lot of supplies and overnight trips and things. And we play a lot of tennis. You know, we firmly believe we got to get out and play to get better, and so we travel as far and wide as we possibly can. and do what we have to do to try to get better. We finished the year with an 18-9 record. We were back-to-back district champs this year. We were by-district champs. We were area champs. And we fell in the regional quarterfinals to a really tough Keller team. So we're proud of the kids and everything that they did and accomplished. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce our kids and their accolades real quick. Hannah Harton, she was, I'm going to try to skip over all these places. Line 6 girls singles first team all district. Just give a little wave, Hannah. Okay. Then we have Brady Stewart. Brady Stewart was line 6 boys singles first team all district and number 3 boys doubles first team all district. So it's Brady. And I'm sorry, but all of our kids pretty much in the lineup, they got accolades and they did really well, and so it's a lot, but we want to recognize them. Adithi Patarala, she got second team, line 2 girls singles second team all district, and she got number 2 girls doubles first team all district with Seda Pong Savanthong in girls doubles. So yeah, give a little wave, Adithi. Leah Rupert, Leah was number 3 girls doubles first team all district, so that's Leah right there. Give a little wave. Alvina Sheikh was also line 3 girls doubles first team all district, and she was also line 4 girls singles first team all district. So give a little wave, Alvina. We have Kirsten Robles. We have Bo Wilcox. Bo was let me see. Thought I had Bo in here. He would have been in the boys doubles. John Jong. We have Mr. Mason Chapman. We have, I'm trying to go freshmen to seniors. We have Brent Wilcox. Yeah, Brent Wilcox. Brent Wilcox was line 2 boys singles first team all district, and he was also line 1 boys doubles second team all district with Ryan Hildebrand. We have Andre Carrasco. Andre Carrasco was line 3 boys singles first team all district, and he was also line 2 boys doubles second team all district with Carter Lyles. We have Carly King. Carly was line 1 girls doubles second team all district with Carissa Castillo. Oh, did I skip Carter? I got you, buddy. You're next. All right, so that's Carly King. Let's give her a round of applause. The Mr. Carter Lyles, sorry Carter. Carter was line 4 boys singles first team all district, and Carter was also half of that team at line 2 boys doubles second team all district with Andre Carrasco. And Carter was also nice enough to let one of the ladies have his shirt for tonight. So he's a gentleman. Chivalry's not dead. All right, Mr. Nate James. Nate James was line 1 boys singles district honorable mention, and he was first team all district mixed doubles with Kinsey King. Ryan Hildebrand was number 5 boys singles first team all district, and he was also half of the boys team at line 1 boys doubles second team all district with Brent Wilcox. Seda Pong Savanthong was line 2 girls doubles first team all district with Adithi Patarala, and she was also number 4 girls line 4 girls singles first team all district, or line 5 girls first team all district. So please give her a round of applause. We have Miss Petra Neal. We have Carissa Castillo. Carissa was line 3 girls singles first team all district, and she was line 1 girls doubles second team all district. And we have last but not least Miss Kinsey King. Kinsey King was line 1 girls singles second team all district, and she was mixed doubles first team all district with Nate James. We had a freshman girl all district freshman girl of the year, and that was Adithi Patarala. And we had an all district boy newcomer of the year, and that was Ryan Hildebrand. And thank you to our parents for supplying all of our Gatorades, waters, snacks, everything like that. So thank each and every one of you. It takes a village. It really does. And our bus driver, Richard Gonzalez, he's not here, but we love him to death. He's like our grandpa at this point. And so, and he yells at the kids more than I do, so it's great. So thank y'all very much. Thank you, board. Thank you for everything, the facilities and everything like that. Without y'all, we wouldn't have what we have. So thank you all very much.
Everybody stay where you are. Parents, come on up.
Thank you, Coach Abalez, and again, congratulations to the Central High School tennis team on a fabulous season. Next, I'd like to bring up the Lakeview Maiden Volleyball team, who had a historical season this year, led by Danita Brown. Come on up, Danita.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. I'll go ahead and quickly introduce the girls from left to right. We have Brandy Coward, Ava Velez, Emma Guevara, Reagan Reeves, Jaden Jones, Lori O'Donnell, Christina Valdez, Emily O'Donnell, Jasmine Flores, and Skylar Lacey. Unfortunately, we are missing just a couple of girls, but the majority are here. You know, this year they put in a lot of work. We went to some really big tournaments, and we played some really tough teams. We played some 6A teams. We wound up beating Lubbock High at our tournament here at home, which was really cool. We were pretty proud of that. And I don't know about them, but I had a lot of fun going on our out-of-town trips, trying to do some team building, and making a lot of memories, especially in San Marcos. They did have a very historical season. The girls were able to go and get a by-district win. This is the first time that they've done that, I think, since like 2004. So I am extremely proud of them. It was my first time as a coach getting a gold ball as well, so this group is going to be really special to me, especially my 5 seniors that we're going to be losing this year. Real quick, we did have a lot of representation for our district honors, so I just kind of wanted to give you guys those. For our Offensive Player of the Year for our district, we had Brandy Coward. We also got another girl for the Newcomer of the Year. We had Lori O'Donnell. She was our freshman major setter. First team all-district, we had Christina Valdez, Emma Guevara, and Emily O'Donnell. Second team all-district, we had Jasmine Flores, and also our libero, Allie Flores, she wasn't able to make it tonight. Honorable mention, we had Reagan Reeves, Skylar Lacey, and Ava Velez. And, you know, it's really tough to be an athlete, but to be really, really, you know, great in the classroom, to keep your grades up, to not give me a hard time, to have to stay on them about it. We had a lot of girls who also received academic honors for the district, and to me, I think that's the most important of any of the ones that they could have earned. We had Lori O'Donnell, Christina Valdez, Allie Flores, Brandy Coward, Emily O'Donnell, Emma Guevara, and Reagan Reeves. Thank you guys very much.
There we go. Follow the leader.
Come on up closer if you want to, parents.
Thank you, ladies. Next up, we're going to bring up the Central Cross Country team, and Josh Brewer, who is a first-year head coach for us, but been here for a long time, but has taken over our cross country program, and so we'd like y'all to go and come up.
Well, Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, ladies and gentlemen of the board, like Coach Chant said, I'm Josh Brewer. I'm the head cross-country coach at Central High School, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to recognize the 2022 Central Cross Country Regional Qualifiers. I'm extremely proud of all these kids and what they have accomplished so far this year. In cross country, we talk about winning the day. And you can win the day at many times during the day and in many ways. And let me tell you, these student athletes do just that. They get to school early and run mile after mile after mile, and then they head into the classroom and they hit the books and learn. Still trying to get them to get some sleep at night, but you know, they got to be kids sometimes. But their hard work has paid off, and they've had success in the classroom and in their cross-country season. So to qualify for regionals, you have to be in the top 10 at the district meet, or you have to be one of the top 3 teams at the district meet. Our Lady Cats finished 3rd at the district meet, qualifying all 7 individual ladies. And then our 2 Bobcats were both in the top 10. Let's meet them. So first, I want to start with the Lady Cats. So got 2 freshmen, extremely awesome runners. First is Presley Eubank. Next to Presley is another freshman, Harper Hansen. Got 2 sophomores on the team, so this is their 2nd year in cross country. Naomi Bajent, Yep, this is her second time qualifying for regional, so she's 2 for 2. And then next we have Hannah Zwiebel. So Hannah was also named our Hollins Award winner, voted on by the team. So to be a sophomore and be named the Hollins Award winner is pretty big. We have one junior, and it's her first year on varsity, and it is Hannah Bajan. And then our senior Lady Cats. First is Madison Johnson. Madison was named to the Texas High School Coaches Association All-State Academic Team, so well done. And finally, our lead runner for the Lady Cats is Emma George. She was second place at the district meet, so she's the silver medalist, and she plans to continue running at Texas State University next year. And then our 2 senior boys, 2 great young men. We've had them in the program for a long time. I'm super proud of them. First is Chris Banks. He qualified 8th at the district meet. He is also all-state academic. And he was named the boys Hollins Award cross-country winner. And finally, Angel Rodriguez. He is our top runner for the boys team. He's worked extremely hard and had a great year. He finished 6th at district and qualified for regionals. So I am very proud of this fine group of student athletes and the entire Central Cross Country team. They are in pursuit of excellence, and they make a difference. So thank you again for this opportunity to recognize the 2022 Central Cross Country Regional Qualifiers.
Okay, our last group is the Lakeview cross-country team led by Aaron Leeper, and they had a fabulous year as well, and we're going to bring them up here now.
All right, as they make their way, I am Aaron Leeper. I am the head cross-country coach at Lakeview, and I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to brag on these kids who I love so much. These are my favorite people, not just those, but like the whole team. They're my favorite people. And so when I get to come up here, I'm like so excited because I'm like, y'all have to like be forced to listen to me brag about my kids. So it's kind of cool to do. These are the regional qualifiers for the 2022 cross country season. And they're fighters. These kids have done an amazing job, even starting in two-a-days. They had a lot of setbacks. Both teams lost their number one runners. And so once you lose your number one, everybody has to move up. in order to meet the goal that they're going to have. So before 2 days ended, we were already down our number one boy and our number one girl. And these kids did not even for a second think, oh, what a bummer, I can't go on. No, they decided they were going to step up. They were going to take that opportunity to push themselves even harder, and they did. And not only that, they made it to regionals, and our girls team, actually, one of our runners didn't finish the race. And as our other team members passed, they realized they were going to have to run even more. So not only did our number 2 become our number 1, but then our number 3 had to be our number 1 since the beginning of the season. So in the middle of a race, they had to figure out very quickly, what are we going to have to do to advance? And then they did it. So that's just outstanding. These are amazing people that you have standing in front of you today. So I'm going to introduce them. Closest to me, we have our team captain, Justin Vasquez. He is a senior, so it's sad that we are losing him, but he has been with us for 4 years, and as team captain did a phenomenal job leading the team. Next to him is Sterling Cook. He's a junior. This was his first regional appearance, so that was really exciting to get to bring him along with us. All the way on the opposite end is his sister, senior Faith Miller. So it was really sweet to get to bring siblings on an overnight regional trip. That's always a lot of fun to be trapped in a vehicle with siblings. So that's cute. Next to Faith is Misha Watts. She is a senior and a second-year cross-country runner. So, and Faith has been running for 4 years. Next to Misha, is Alyssa Dela Cruz. She is a junior and a third-year runner. We have Andrea Lopez, who is a junior and third-year runner. Next to her, we have Lupita Diaz, who is a senior and first-year runner. So not only was it her first year and her last year of high school, first year running, but she ended up being number 1 on the team and really fighting through that. Like, that's kind of hard to just join the team your senior year and be like, I'm number 1 now. So, but she did, so that was cool. Next to her, we have Yelena Sanchez. She's a junior, third-year runner. Jalen Cuellar, sophomore, second-year runner. Alexa Gonzalez de la Rosa. She's a sophomore, first-year runner. And they're my favorite people, and I am so glad that I got to present them to y'all today. And just thank you again for letting us get to come here and let me show off my team and my people. So thank y'all.
I'll now turn it over to Whitney Wood and Molly Turk for other recognitions.
Good evening, Mr. Parker and distinguished members of the board. It's hard to follow our amazing student athletes, but I don't think there's a recognition more fitting to do just that than to honor our Central High School Lady Cat Gymnastics legendary coach, Tony Walker. Come forward. You may have heard this simple saying before, that all it takes is one coach that believes in you. One coach that believes in you to bring out your greatness, to build your confidence, and to make you believe in yourself. Coach Walker has done just that, but perhaps 100 to 10-fold, inspiring outstanding athletes to be their best in the gym and in class. Earlier this year, this incredible difference maker was honored by the Gymnastics Association of Texas with the Life Member Award. The award is presented to members who have given a long period of outstanding service and accomplishment to the sport of gymnastics. With over 36 years of service highlighted by an incredible 5 district titles, 25 regional titles, 12 state titles, 1 national title, there is no room to question his contribution to the sport. Under his inspirational leadership, our Central High School Lady Cats currently hold the team's scoring record for girls in Texas. He's also developed talent to support 7 individual state record holders and 32 individual state champions. Central High School Principal Bill Waters had this to say: Tony Walker is a legend. Not only is he a champion, but he is a true role model for both his students and all educators. His program should be a model for all others. Coach Walker is a class act, a true gentleman, and a friend. I am both excited and proud for Coach Walker. He is beyond deserving of this award. So tonight, it is our honor to celebrate you, Coach Walker. So please join me in celebrating and honoring Coach Walker on behalf of SAISD, our student athletes, Central High School, and also all of West Texas for inspiring our children to chase their passions. Congratulations, Coach. Thank you, Coach. No, you've done it more than better. You don't get to go yet. We may not have all that hardware you get at the state meets, but we want a picture. Oh, yeah. Yes. The kids were. Thank you, Coach.
Just a second, Whitney. Mr. Gallegos and I both got in that photo because I've had a daughter that was coached by Tony on 2 state champion teams and also individual champion, and Gerard as his daughter. What years were yours, Gerard?
3 state championships, and I think she won 5 individual.
There, so we owe a lot to Coach Walker. He is the best, so thank you for honoring him.
He more than deserves it. Okay, we've got some more wonderful things to celebrate. So we continue tonight's recognitions with a shining example of one of the ways we celebrate all the ways our students are smart. Earlier this year, our Central High School Chamber Orchestra was honored as a 2022 High School String Orchestra Commended winner in the Mark of Excellence project by the Foundation of Music Education, one of only 10 string orchestras in the nation receiving the Mark of Excellence project honor, and the only in West Texas. The Foundation's Mark of Excellence project is a national music competition that recognizes music ensembles for high standards in performance. Ensembles from 39 states submitted performance recordings, which were adjudicated by nationally known acclaimed conductor Robert Franz and the University of Southern California Thornton School of Music distinguished conductor, educator, and administrator Larry Livingston. In a letter accompanying the award notification, Managing Director for the Foundation's Mark of Excellence project stated, "The performance of your ensemble represents the very highest level of achievement." But enough from me. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to the talented Central High School Orchestra Director, Miss Emily Hall Rocha, to tell you more. Miss Hall Rocha.
Good evening. I am Emily Hall Rocha, and back here is Michael Martin, my Associate Director. And as you heard, we have, yes, you guys can come up. We have part of our chamber orchestra who's come to see you guys tonight. As you heard, we submitted for a competition that was nationwide, and there were 376 entries from 39 states, and we ranked in the top 10 within the string orchestra division. And the recording, if you were interested in hearing what ranks as a top 10 recording, is actually in some links in an article produced by SISD. So it's on the SISD website, and thank you again for recognizing our kids. I do want to talk briefly about some of the things that came as part of this competition. Of course, we have this lovely plaque, which is not the ultimate goal. What we loved about this competition is that we got some real feedback from great masters. By the time we get to UIL, our judges usually just set down their pencils and listen because they love it. And we don't really get feedback on how to improve. And the detail that we got from Larry Livingston was absolutely incredible and shows us ways that we can grow even more. But beyond that, I think I can speak for myself and for our students. It was wonderful to be recognized in a way that makes us realize that all of our hard work is worth it and receive that reward. So a little something tangible, I guess, for all of their hard work. So thank you so much for having us and recognizing these kids tonight. I do have one more recognition, if you'll allow me. If you see this young man on the right, or on the left, your right, you can turn around, Greg. He's wearing yeah, so they can see it. He's wearing a pretty large medal, and this is something that he actually earned last May. We take several kids to the State Solon Ensemble competition in Austin, and over 100,000 kids compete in this particular competition across orchestra, band, and choir. And very few kids are actually selected as the outstanding soloists. And so Greg was chosen as an outstanding soloist last year, and to my knowledge, at least in our records, he was our first. There might have been one in early 2000 with Brandy Phillips, but we're extremely proud of him and forward to sharing some also amazing news very soon with you guys. So thank you for recognizing our students, and we're so happy to be here.
Can't go yet. Don't go yet. We need your photo.
I've been asked to recognize all of these guys by name. This is Gregory Fott, Patrick Fuentes, Emily Fott, Hayden Anderson, and you guys can wave as I say your name. Anastasia Bradham, Sophia Elder, and Adithi Patarella.
And I also heard that they have a concert December 1st at ASU. So if you want to hear some beautiful music, go to that concert or see the article we wrote where you can hear their award-winning performance. Okay. And for our last but not least recognition for the evening, we have a very important one and made in appreciation of and respect for our nation's veterans by humbly recognizing and thanking all of those who served, including SAISD alumni and family members, with a special recognition and gratitude of our San Angelo ISD Difference Maker employee veterans. Our employee veterans add so much to our SAISD team, and we cannot express our gratitude enough. Tonight, we want to take a moment to honor their contributions by highlighting a few of our veterans to show how veterans are an integral part of our SAISD story. Join us in honoring and paying tribute to 5 SAISD employee veterans and all of our countrymen who have served. On the screen above me, you might see, in just a moment. You'll see Mr. Jason Ketchum, our Director of Transportation, who served in the Army during Operation Iraqi Freedom and the global war on terrorism. Technical Sergeant Sandra Bradley, our Lakeview High School JROTC instructor, who completed tours all across the globe, from Goodfellow here in San Angelo to as far as South Korea. Then we have Bradley Hill, one of our child nutrition equipment mechanics, who served in the Air Force and Medical Administration. Mr. Stephen Jewell, our Central High School history teacher and football and baseball coach, who served in the Army and as a Department of Defense overseas educator. And then Lyle Daniel, also part of our child nutrition distribution and delivery team, who received an award for high achievement during his service to the Army. And of course, earlier tonight we had with us our outstanding JROTC leaders, Major Esquill and Chief Master Sergeant Prince. We are so appreciative of the varied perspectives these team members bring to our school communities and to San Angelo, and thank them for the freedoms they have helped us to preserve for each of us. Please join me in a moment of silence and humble recognition of all of our nation's veterans, and special gratitude to those connected to our San Angelo community. Thank you, and that concludes this evening's recognitions.
All right, Molly, Whitney, and Tiffany, you now have a report partnership with Goodfellow Air Force Base. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. So good evening, Mr. Parker, members of the board. As you heard earlier, so we started our wonderful report with a great performance by several of our kids, our combined ROTCs and our combined choir. So a special shout out to them for making this presentation special for our guests, but also for sharing their smartness with us. Tonight, we are honored to thank an outstanding partnership with the National Math and Science Initiative, the Department of Defense, and Goodfellow Air Force Base to bring grant funding to our staff and students to provide training, materials, and resources to our high school STEM advanced placement students. SAIC was awarded over $358,000 to be split between Central High School and Lakeview High School, which will go to support STEM learning in our classrooms and scholarships for students. We sincerely thank the National Math and Science Initiative, the Department of Defense, and Goodfellow for their support of furthering STEM initiatives here in San Angelo ISD, but also helping us with our mission to support future-ready graduates. So I'd like to welcome Tiffany Hubner up here. She's our Director of Advanced Academics and Fine Arts, and she will lead the rest of our program.
Colonel Moore and I had yet to meet, so here we go. So excited you're here, Colonel Moore. I'm just here to introduce. Here's Colonel Moore from Goodfellow.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Parker, Dr. Dutloff, Board of Trustees, San Angelo ISD educators, family, and friends. I think that's everybody. My wife? Okay. All right, so Goodfellow Air Force Base is excited to celebrate this wonderful news with the San Angelo Independent School District. Goodfellow Air Force Base has an amazingly close partnership with SAISD, and we enthusiastically collaborated to apply for this game-changing National Math and Science Department of Defense grant. This NIMSY grant will not only benefit our children's education today, but will also serve as a powerful projection platform to posture these future adults to support tomorrow's military readiness needs with advanced math, science, English, and critical thinking skills to protect and defend our nation. So I just want to thank you all for being here, and sir, thank you for this grant. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it.
So I want to lift up Mrs. Tiffany Hebner. She's here for much more than recognition, so please help me in giving Tiffany a round of applause for all that she does. Your passion is evident in all that you do. So also, I'd like to just, in SAISD, we say our people make the difference. As seen on your t-shirts this evening, on our social media, this evening we want to extend that to our district difference maker partners. Truly, this would not be possible without each and every one of you. Additionally, we want to thank, so if you're here in the audience, yes, you're not going to get away quietly before the picture. Want to thank all of our teachers, counselors, staff, and principals who bring forward the hopes and dreams of our students on a daily basis. So would you please stand so we can recognize all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. All right, first, before I got to say something. I have to let you know how Teresa Goodwin, she's our liaison between the base, and Trish Hammond worked very hard on this grant behind the scenes and surprised us with this. So I just really want to tell you thank you so much. I know y'all worked really hard on that. So next up is Ed Vega, and he's from the National Math and Science Institute. He is here to say a few words and present us with some money, hopefully.
So much to be able to say. Again, teachers, raise your hands. We're talking about the important folks that make this thing move, that make this thing go. Thank you for what you do each and every day. And This grant is all about professional development for our teachers that they can hopefully use in their classrooms to encourage the success of many children into the more difficult, rigorous STEM field of education. I also would want to highlight that the programs team who will make this happen, Ronisha, stand up please. She's their best friend in the world. And her colleague and boss, right? Tony Schneider, please stand up. Now I've got to tell all of you just some insider stuff here. I mean, these are two AP math teachers, so there's no fooling them, no getting by them. So they've done it in the classroom, and they've done it with NIMSY. And thank you, whoever first mentioned NIMSY, National Math and Science Initiative. We are known as NIMSY. But also in making this kind of stuff go, make it happen. Trish, of course, and Trish was an Air Force child and is an Air Force spouse, so she understands what it means to have kids moving in and out of school. She's been a school teacher, and she's a vital part of what we do at NIMSY. Thank you, Trish. Teresa, we were reflecting, it's been 5 years ago that we started down this road trying to make this happen. And it's tough because the Department of Defense requires that schools meet certain thresholds in terms of military child populations before we can go forward with it. And the great news is, Board, just to make sure you understand, it is not a pullout program for military kids. It is for all of the kids who are willing to step up and do the harder thing and say, I want some of that AP STEM program as part of my background. So when leaders think it's important, and principals, where's my principals? Are they here? Principals here? And when leaders say it's important and make it happen, it'll happen. And this will be great stuff. I do want to share, and I've been with NIMSY for about 5 years, but I do want to share a message from Mr. Louis Lopez, so that you understand that the Department of Defense STEM is led by Louis, who couldn't be here. I mean, he's kind of tethered to Washington. It's tough to get him out. But if you ever take the time to Google DOD US STEM, you will have an appreciation for the full spectrum of what DOD STEM is. And DOD STEM has been a partner with NIMSY for a number of years, back since about 2012, funding military-connected schools throughout the nation. And Trish keeps the books. We were at 309 military-connected schools. What are we at now? 318 schools. It's a part of what NIMSY does because we're all over the country. But our schools here are joining a family, a great family of professionals. And you will see that in your connections and the work that you do with Ronisha and with Tony, that there's a family out there ready to help you do what it is you need to do to help teach concepts, come up with new ways to do things. It's very important. If Louis were here, he would tell you that the significance of the program and the reason DOD STEM does this is because they are very concerned about the future workforce, not only within the Department of Defense, and there's 70-some DOD laboratories, but again, if you go into their internet sites, you'll start to see all the great opportunities that exist in terms of the internship programs and scholarship programs and so on. So for kids who are willing to work the hard course to be part of this country's STEM future, and oh, by the way, that includes defense industry, the opportunities are there. It's incredible. And I'm always happy to say that we're proud to be working with the DOD, in large part because we're helping give away other people's money, namely the government's money. But it is a great program, and I just think that you'll be encouraged by what you see in terms of outcome, the things that your teachers are able to gain, and how your students respond. Because as we've seen across the country, students will step up to do the harder work, to take the rigorous coursework, to be challenged in so many ways. So to everybody on the school side and on the base side, Colonel Moore, my good buddy Teresa, thanks for what you've done. There's going to be more to come. She's going to take us up the road to Abilene, right? And no pressure, but there is next year. And we're just excited to be a part of this. So thank you very much for opening the doors to us. We'd like to have another little special photo op. Trish, if you can do. And I'd like to get Mr. Superintendent, Mr. President, if you'll come down, Colonel Moore. I need our principals, please, first of all. Now, there's going to be opportunities for pictures for all the teachers as well. We would.
It's a good workout, Marcy.
Mr. Parker, that concludes this report. And thank you, NIMSY.
Thank you, Molly. All right, we now need to approve our minutes for prior meetings, October 11th, 2022, special finance pre-agenda meeting, October 17th, 2022, board training, and October 17th, 2022, regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Mr. Dendel, second by Mr. Gallegos. Is there any other board discussion? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. I never did read our script today, and I apologize for that, but every meeting I'll read a script welcoming everyone here and also mentioning that we have public comments for topics that are not on our agenda and also public comments for topics that are on our agenda, and that we will make time for each, and that whoever makes public comments needs to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. We do have someone that signed up for public comments for topics not on our agenda. That's Mr. Bassetti, who understands our rules because he's spoken to us before. So, Mr. Bassetti, if you want to come forward and present your comments, as you know, as you're coming forward, that I'll explain for our audience. Any public comments made on topics not on our agenda, the board is not allowed to comment except to just tell you thank you, since it hadn't been posted as an agenda item. Be sure, as you know, to announce who you are and stay by the podium so we can have it, so we can keep it recorded. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Virgil Passetti, concerned father. I've been before the board many of times. Thank you for hearing my comments for today. As I said at the pre-agenda meeting, I will not be bringing up the things that I've been trying to get for my son, because I've given up on that at this point. So after 4 years, obviously nothing's going to happen. So it's one of the things I do want to focus on is, looking at like transportation. Went to the Veterans Day thing at my son's school at Bowie, walked into the gym. All the vinyl is coming off the ceiling. There's essentially fiberglass raining down on our children. If you look, there is some areas of possible mold, things like that. I know that we've paid $125,000 for the consultants to tell us to shut down which schools, and that, through the hard work of the district, we've been able to save $20 million to implement that plan. And it is my concern that a lot of that money is because of deferred maintenance. Obviously, even though Bowie's going to be shut down in 5 years possibly, we do have a duty. And when you look at liability and neglect, you have duty, breach, cause, proximity, and harm. And we have a duty to maintain those schools and maintain those buses to 100% until they're taken out of service. I will be sending you some pictures of those buses that I spoke to you about. We should have pride in ownership. We shouldn't have buses riding around with discolored hoods. the duals touching, those type things. We should have some form of maintenance excellence where we have a program that, we should be doing preventative maintenance, not emergency maintenance. And it seems like with this district that, when there's an emergency, you step forward and you do it. You're not willing to look for a corrective action, and you're definitely not going to do a preventive action. I've reached out to many people in this district about some things. Nothing ever changes. Nobody's ever admitted that anything is wrong. And, I would feel at this point someone would reach out to me and say, look, thank you for identifying the problem. Here's the team that we're going to put on that problem. Here's the corrective action we're going to do to solve the problem. And then here's the preventive action we're going to do to prevent it. We're putting a lot of liability on us because, we have a duty to provide safe schools. We shouldn't have fiberglass exposed to the kids. We shouldn't have the roof coming down on the kids. We can't allow this to happen, but then say that we're saving that money to go shut down 2 other schools. Deferred maintenance is not a savings. It's just passing the maintenance down the road and not doing it. I bet we could go out just based on the study that they did and go find $20 million worth of deferred maintenance just on what they've showed us in the programs about these other schools. You look at all the red X's over this and this and this. I'm sure that we could find at least $5 or $10 million of deferred maintenance. But instead, we're going to not fix those schools, and we're going to use that money so that we can shut down 2 schools. I just feel like we have a duty to these kids to maintain all the schools at the same level. Every school, if I go to Lamar, do they have their roof with fiberglass coming down on their kids, the newest school? Why is it like that at Bowie? We have a duty to maintain these properties until we take them out of service. So those are my comments. I hope you hear it, and I hope y'all take action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bassetti. We now have more reports. Jason Henry.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I'd like to introduce Alan Wolf with Park Hill Smith & Cooper, and he's going to go over our sustainability plan.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. President Parker, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, thank you again for letting me present tonight. I've got paper falling all over me here. What I wanted to do is update you this evening on our work on the sustainability plan for your elementary facilities. First off, I just want to thank you. I really appreciate, I got here a little early and I heard the choir singing, and it's just been a wonderful night seeing your students recognize an awesome grant today. That was really wonderful. So I'm going to talk about the work of a team. I've got my folks represented here. We've been able over the last month and since the October 17th meeting to meet and work with your team, which included all of these folks. And we embarked on a design charrette to determine the next steps in the sustainability action plan. When we visited last in October, you asked us to put together some additional information and ideas regarding Fanning master plan options and also what are the potentials at McGill. So since then, as I said, we conducted a design charrette, and if you will, this is just charrette's just a word for rapid concepting, if you will, and this is for us to test information and potential actions that could happen to expand or merge different school facilities. We've also done some 3D scanning of the building as well so that we can gather information about those existing campuses. Wanted to just highlight some of the work. We were able, this is about 3 weeks ago, to sit down with all the folks in the district, the stakeholders, and our team, and get an understanding of the needs from the people who know best. That would be those professional educators, principals, and your staff who know these facilities the best and the students the best. And that was great for us because we need that information to really help put down good ideas on paper. And you can see there's a lot of sketching in here. I'll show you some more of the more refined sketches in a minute. But basically this process happened over a couple of days. and we went and we drew concepts, drew ideas out. Then we got more feedback from the administrators and principals. We drew some other options. And so we're really kind of able to do a very interactive exercise, and it allowed us to vet out some of the options. But some of the results of that work that we did when we sat down is we really tried to identify, for example, at McGill, if you were going to merge Austin with McGill, as we have discussed before, what kind of space needs would you need? And what do we need to best serve students going into the future, both from a classroom standpoint, but also some of those flexible learning environments and spaces that really can help do lots of different learning modalities for the students. And so we actually put all this on a paper. It starts kind of with a spreadsheet exercise. Really had awesome and wonderful feedback from your staff. They really do know your facilities well, and they had an eye on the future in terms of your educational priorities. So once we did that, our team started looking at ideas. And at McGill, for example, I think I'm going to go through and just orient you quickly on the site, because as we were laying things out, it fit better on the paper to go not north and south, up and down. And so actually north to your right here, if you want to orient yourself, Mill Spa is the street on the bottom, and Guthrie is the street on the top of the plan. And then Sherwood Way is here on the left. So let me go back a slide and just show you. We had, like I said, 4 different architects that were looking at different ideas, everything from 1-story to 2-story construction, and looking at all the different areas of the campus where that might make the difference. I forgot to mention when we were at McGill, we identified a need for approximately 16 classrooms, and so and additional dining and kitchen space. And so we were looking at how that might fit on the site. And again, this is really a high level. This is just to show options. This is not something that I know the board hasn't acted on. This is just to show you what is the potential. And as you can see, we went through different options, and the staff, I think both Colton and Brooke both really like this particular option at McGill, being a 1-story. And again, in this particular arrangement, and again, highly schematic and high level here, looking at Sherwood Way, again, is to the left on the plan. Shows you an idea, and what we liked about this option was it takes traffic off of Guthrie and Mill Spa and puts it onto campus. It also connects the gymnasium, and so we're trying to work towards getting a fully connected campus. And so I think the principals really liked this idea because of the safety and security benefit that it has. And as I said, we were able to take advantage of getting some of that traffic off the street, which I know has been an issue in the past. As you can see, we also showed an additional drop-off potentially up in what would be the San Antonio and Guthrie intersection up there on the northwest corner of the site, which is to the top right here. Right now, that would help relieve some of the drop-off with the 1st and 2nd graders, and also the 5th graders in the building on the far bottom right. So you can see it also brings some additional parking in for the staff. So if we went back and looked at the aerial, you could see that we have that street that is running in between that belongs to the school, and we're trying to connect the entire campus there. And in the future, a second option, a second phase of the option would be to fully connect and to, as you can see, the potential of an additional gymnasium there. So, any questions on McGill before I continue on and show options at Fannin? Right, I'm going to keep going. Did the same exercise at Fannin. Again, had really wonderful from Lori and Dana, were fantastic as part of this. They came in just like Colton and Brooke did, and knew exactly, had a plan of attack, and knew their campuses. And in this case, we identified a need approximately 10 to 12,000 square feet in order to, just looking at the potential if Altaloma merged with Fannin. And in that case, that space need equates to about 8 classrooms and some additional restrooms. And so we wanted to show the potential. And again, as we've shown these options, what we're trying to do is look short term and then also long-term. So any of the options that we're drawing or that we sketched out, we're trying to make sure we have the viability for the campus many years into the future. I'm going to show the aerial here. This is the current configuration, and just to orient you again, I apologize. I keep showing Plan North to the right, but basically, if you look, Edmond is to the right, and then you've got Louise Drive is down at the bottom, so on the east side, and then Wilson Street's down on the south, which is where the current entry is to the campus. So again, we did the same exercise. We looked at multiple different options for space arrangement. And ultimately, had a different group of folks working on this one. Ultimately, we came up with a first phase, a second phase, and viability for the campus many years into the future. And in this case, if you look at the north end of the campus, what we've identified is essentially extending that far north wing, which was built in 1997. I've got a really good structure to work with over there. And as you can see, we're also talking about bringing an additional drop-off to try to get some of that traffic that gets onto Wilson Street and in behind off the campus. And so the plan here, currently there are 3 portables there. If there were an additional portable added, that would handle the student load until the 8 classrooms could be built. And so you can also see we've got some additional parking lot because there would be the need with some additional staff. So that's a potential first phase, and what another potential future possibility would be to centralize the admin and the library space with basically a new entry facing Louise Drive. That allows the potential to bring additional traffic sometime in the future off of the street there. And then as you can see, another potential to provide a new kitchen and cafeteria and gymnasium there on the west side of the campus. So there's, this is just, again, to show some ideas, but we've thought through what would need to happen at both campuses just as a possibility. Any questions on Fannin for And I think we visited previously about wanting to put together, in terms of what these construction projects could potentially cost. And in today's dollars, this is roughly what we're looking at Fannin, about $5 million, and at McGill, approximately $15 million for the Phase 1 work. And again, I needed to add Phase 1 to the end of that. This is a Phase 1 cost, but we've tried to put these options out. And again, I just want to compliment the staff for their help in putting these ideas down on paper, and hopefully these are reflective of, hopefully what we've done is a reflection of their work, and would at least give you guys the potential as you're considering your long-term options and sustainability plan for the elementaries in the district.
I know we as a board have had several meetings with you, so we're becoming a lot more familiar with the proposals that you have been working up, and we appreciate you tweaking things as we make suggestions, and then as some of our administrators also make suggestions. So, board members, do we have any other questions of Mr. Wolf right now?
Mr. Parker, I know that Mr. Wolf's been with us for quite some time, and I think that some of the solidarity of the drawings that we see on paper now are helping us realize how we can actually move these campuses together to make a better environment for the students as we bring them over from the other campus that we may be shuttering later on. But I think it helps me, and also I think it probably helps the public see that there is a plan going down the road that it's our goal to make these facilities top-notch as we move forward. Not only these two, but as we move forward just with funds available. Obviously, we want to improve all facilities here at SAISD.
Thank you, Mr. Dindal, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity to be part of the process. I know there are other parts of the process ongoing with the district as you're getting comments and feedback from parents and teachers and other parts of the district, but we appreciate the opportunity to be part of your process.
Yes, sir, Mr. Parker, I just have one comment to Alan and his team. I just want to commend Park Hill and Alan and the team. They have been holding our hands and been just terrific partners through this whole process. Also, in part of the selection process, Park Hill had great experience in repurposing schools across West Texas and even other parts of the state as well. So they are with us to the end, and in fact, starting tomorrow, they are partnering with us as we hold our community forums and town hall meetings at the individual campuses. So we will all be together at those town hall meetings and getting feedback from our constituents to see if there's any adjustments we need to make on our plans. So thank you, Alan.
Dr. Detloff.
Dr. Kingman has a comment, then I've got another comment.
Sure.
So the one thing I just want to make sure is clear that, we are looking at facilities and what, we're looking at what it would cost to maintain or upgrade our existing facilities, and then how we can do that and sustain this, and also improve our ability to provide programs to these students and increase staffing ratios, et cetera, at these campuses so that we can give people even a better opportunity at those campuses, and that's part of this as well. So.
I've asked Dr. Detloff for anybody that might be watching this on our Channel 4 to provide those dates where we be meeting with anyone that might be interested on the particular campuses that might be affected at our town hall meetings.
Yes, sir. Our sustainability town hall forums starting tomorrow, November 15th, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at San Jacinto Elementary. So that's tomorrow, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. San Jacinto Elementary. Our next town hall forum is November 17th, this Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30 at Altaloma Elementary. So this Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30 at Altaloma Elementary. And then also at Reagan Elementary after the Thanksgiving break, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on November 28th at Reagan Elementary. Followed in December, our December meetings for the town halls are December 8th, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at McGill Elementary. Town hall meeting December 13th, 5:30 to 6:30 at Austin Elementary. And a town hall forum December 15th at Fannin Elementary, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And immediately following the new year, January 12th, we have a virtual town hall meeting for any constituents that would like to add their opinion or certainly see what the schedule is at that point, and that's 5:30 to 6:30, and most likely that will be a Zoom virtual forum on January 12th for anybody in our community that's interested. Those are available on saisd.org, and Whitney, how'd I do? Did I reference that right? I knew I'd get mixed up on the /. Okay, those are on our website.
And I am correct that even though we may have a town hall at San Jacinto or Reagan, that you do not need to be a parent or a resident in those areas. You can come to any of the town hall meetings that you choose. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Wolf? I appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on with our agenda. We've discussed at our pre-agenda meeting our student enrollment report, update on academic programs, Board Goal 1, student engagement. Dr. Gomez.
Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, we have a few reports this evening. Our first, we would like to introduce to you Kevin Hazel and Arlene Williams from Panorama Education. In tonight's overview, you will hear specifically from Kevin, and he will share with you more about SAISD's partnership with Panorama, how this elevates stakeholder voice, how this connects to our strategic board goals and district priorities, and how all of this work connects to the 7 pillars of our SAISD CBAS work. At your spots, you had the report that Kevin's going to have up here, so you have it for your viewing. Also, some of the acronyms, which Kevin will be sure to explain as we go along. And with that, please help me welcome Kevin Hazel.
Pick this up. I'm a little tall for this. But good evening, President Parker, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Detloff, and members of the San Angelo ISD, and guests. And thank you for having me tonight. I'm very excited. I'm joined by Arlene Williams, who has given me the pleasure of doing this solo. So we're going to share a little bit about our partnership with your schools and with your district leaders in San Angelo ISD. I've had the great pleasure of working with them since the inception of our partnership several years ago, and that's really grown over the years. And we're going to talk a little bit about how this partnership, the goal of it is to really help bring data together, build the capacity of educators to use that data to support students and drive growth. All right. So just as we get started, for those of you who might not be as familiar with who Panorama is a national company. We work with districts across all 50 states, but specifically, I'm an account executive. I only partner with our largest districts across the state of Texas. We proudly serve over 80 partners across Texas, and we do that in a few different ways. So like I said, we're really a data dashboard and set of tools to help educators understand student performance, community relationships, and think about how to kind of guide their work forwards using that data. There's a few different kind of elements within that, one being social emotional learning. So how students and educators feel about themselves as learners and as educators. We also support MTSS, which is a multi-tiered system of support. So when we think about all the students across San Angelo ISD, there's some students that are going to sit in any classroom. They're going to succeed through that regular instruction that they receive. But then there's also going to be students that need a little more help or guidance in different ways. And so when you think about a multi-tiered system of support, what it really does is help bring together those different data streams, which we'll talk about today, to really get to the root of why is Johnny struggling a little bit in ELA. It might be because he's struggling with reading. It might be because he's not attending ELA as much as he could be, or maybe he's getting distracted by his best friend who's sitting next to him in that class. So what we help is kind of bring all of those data streams together to really understand the root of what we're seeing in our student outcomes. And so a big element of that is not just how students are performing academically or behaviorally or whether they're coming to school all day. It's also about the partnerships that matter so much across the whole community. So making sure that we're understanding and hearing feedback through a survey about students' sense of belonging and their relationships in their school buildings, about their experiences in classrooms, how their teachers are holding them to rigorous expectations so that they are able to continue to be pushed and grow. And then the social emotional learning part, how do students feel about their own academic self-esteem? How do they persevere when they come across a difficult math problem? For our educators, asking them about how they belong in their buildings, their employee satisfaction, or the professional learning that they're receiving that's going to keep them in the profession over time. And then one of the most important partners are family partnerships, thinking about how learning continues and happens at home in addition to in our school buildings, making sure that families feel invited and welcome into our building. And all of those things are prerequisites for students succeeding and educators succeeding, aligned to our learner profile and educator profile. And so the survey component is one piece of that MTSS picture where we're thinking about the different things that need to be true in order to support the full learning environment, the whole learner, whole child. But the other piece is actually taking all of those different data points. You have your STAR tests, you have your NWEA MAP assessments, M-CLASS. How do we actually bring all of those things together so that, again, we can get to the root of what is the challenge? How can we actually use research-backed, evidence-based practices to support those learners? And knowing that every learner is an individual that has specific needs. So with our kind of comprehensive MTSS, multi-tiered system of support platform, we bring together all of that data so that you can look at trends, what's happening across our district. As a district leader, what do I need to do to prioritize support to different schools that might be seeing different outcomes at different points in time? As a school leader, what teachers do I want to be interacting with based on our most recent benchmark assessment, for example? And then alongside of that, we actually bring that student voice about their own academic self-esteem alongside the academic attendance and behavioral pieces to really get a full picture of what's going on with our students. And you might be asking, how does this connect with our goals as the Board of Trustees or the district leadership? So the three kind of components of our partnership that I just shared are that comprehensive climate culture SEL survey program, the MTSS dashboard that really brings that all together in the same place that you're understanding student outcomes. And then the third piece being professional development, both through evidence-based strategies that we include so that as an educator, you're not just looking at the data, analyzing it, and then going elsewhere for support. You actually have a one-stop shop where you can actually find evidence-based resources, activities, whether it's classroom-wide, individual student, et cetera, right in the Panorama playbook. And then also, I had the pleasure of being with a number of your principals this morning, and so we also have a number of different professional learning opportunities embedded in our partnership as well. So when this all kind of comes together, it makes me think about several years ago when Mr. Kallenbach, I met him and the Dr. Gomez and Ms. Huddleston, and they all came to us really wanting to understand how do we bring our community voices into our community-based accountability system. And so you'll see when we look at the data in just a minute that the intentionality behind how this data, this input, like the input you're receiving from your facilities as you think about the future of your innovative spaces, it all really aligns. And so we have different research-backed and validated survey instruments that align to each of the 7 pillars of your community-based accountability plan, which also aligns to our new board goals, which we're really excited. And so some of what we'll talk about today, and I'm excited to answer your questions afterwards, is how all these pieces come together, how we can think about goal setting, not just these overarching goals, but how do we know that we're doing a good job as a district, as a school, et cetera. And so You might have heard recently, maybe you're a parent of a child at school who took a survey. Maybe you're a parent and you took a survey recently. But a little bit about our fall 2022 survey program. This will be the, I think, 6th or 7th survey program that we've run together over the years since we launched in 2018. And so like I said earlier, everything, and I'm really impressed with your district team about the alignment and intentionality behind how they're thinking about our board goals, our community-based accountability, transparency overall, how we're bringing everyone together. And so you'll see that the way that they, and I took notes and helped put it together, designed their survey program is really aligned to those existing goal-setting frameworks, like the ones that I just mentioned. And they also worked cross-functionally to make sure that we're getting on teaching and learning. What do we need to know to make sure that we're supporting our educators? What do we need to know to make sure that our Tier 1 universal instruction is helping students learn and grow throughout the school year? And so coming out of that, we kind of asked our students about their emotion regulation, their growth mindset, or ability to believe that they can grow in their education, their self-efficacy, which is like your baseline academic self-esteem. We asked them about their social awareness and how they interact with others, which is really critical when you think about career, college, military readiness. We asked them about the climate and safety and belonging in school, and then the relationships with their teachers. And so when this all comes together and you get a room of leaders together, it's really cool what I heard through a few meetings today, how that really comes to life to think about what are the tangible, really low lift things that we can do to make our student experience that much better so they feel engaged and they come to school. And that's actually reflected in the data. When you look at a lot of research about things like social emotional learning or school environment, we see direct correlations to attendance, behavior, and coursework outcomes. And so this is actually looking at kind of a deep dive meta-analysis of how survey responses for students responding to the same surveys that your students are responding to, and how that connects and impacts and correlates in other ways. So when we think about student engagement in school, students that are telling us that they're highly engaged are 57% less likely to be chronically absent. When we think about a skill like social awareness, students who tell us they don't feel that great about their social awareness are 2.5 times more likely to have one or more behavior incidents in school. And then students who tell us they have a strong sense of their self-management are 75% less likely to face failing grades. So just wanted to share that as we dive into a few highlights from our survey results this year, just to kind of connect the dots between MTSS, what we're doing and asking our students, staff, and families, and how that really comes together holistically. So as we're getting started, coming out of, we launched our partnership just before 2020 and really had just expanded. So kind of our response rates have fluctuated throughout the years, but we're really excited that we heard from over 80% or over 70% of students this fall across grades 3 through 5. We saw a little bit of a dip in our staff response rate, but that was one of the things that we were talking about today in a meeting with your team, really thinking about like how are we identifying priorities in our data, being transparent, sharing what we're learning and what we're doing as a result, and encouraging folks to want to be part of that process and part of that community-based accountability system. And when we take a look at your survey results for this fall, we also were able to look at how our upper elementary students were responding compared to those in secondary. And one of the things that was really exciting is one of the benefits of working with Panorama is we have a national data set where you can actually understand how do our students respond compared to other students nationally. And so for our 3rd through 5th graders in San Angelo ISD, when compared to 3rd through 12th graders across the country, you all are in the top percentile across a number of the topic areas like teacher-student relationships, sense of belonging, and school safety. And we've also seen really great gains since the spring. In addition, on the secondary side, oftentimes, as we could expect, students tend to respond a little less favorably in the secondary. Relationships get harder. You're growing as a human. You're being held accountable for more. But despite being a little bit lower when we compare to others nationally in 3rd through 12th grade, we saw gains across all of the topics this fall, which is showing really great progress. And then also, when we think about our student or our family partnerships and relationships, we saw double-digit gains. And what you're looking at here is the percentage of responses to a topic. So a topic area is a broader theme that might have like 5 or 6 questions that roll up into that broader theme. And so we're seeing that in school climate in particular, we grew by 11 percentage points since the spring. And that wasn't to give like a synopsis or a full analysis of your data. It's just to help start getting us thinking about, as a school leader, what could I do kind of using my stakeholder voice to continue to grow. And so to pull back the curtains a little bit, I know for years now, you might have heard of Panorama. Maybe you see us as one of the partners that might be highlighted sometimes. But when we think about a year together, we often will launch a survey in the fall. We'll hear from our new students that came, our new families we're engaging. We'll reflect on that and implement strategies based off of what we learned from our community. And then in the spring, at the end of the year, we'll do another survey administration so that we can continue that continuous improvement process and start planning for the next year. Throughout all of this is MTSS. So as we're kind of putting in place those initiatives, for example, this morning we talked a lot about sense of belonging and teacher-student relationships with between students and teachers. And so that's actually kind of, that work connects really deeply to helping students in those other areas that might need extra help. And then finally, when we're thinking about what the next 3 years looks for us, I think we have a really great foundation. In San Angelo ISD, we have really awesome things happening in pockets across school buildings in terms of how we're using the data, how we're tracking some of the work that we're doing to support students. This spring and going into next year, we're gonna think, reflect, and refine on that to really go even a level deeper. One of the things that's been really impressive is your team has been kind of building out that MTSS framework, which Panorama and our data platform and tools will be embedded into. And so they're very intentionally thinking about how do we engage counselors in a really smart way, or principals and teachers, so that we're slowly bringing them into this. MTSS is kind of a newer idea for a lot of schools and districts. It's kind of building on the RTI model, and actually RTI kind of fits, response to intervention kind of fits below that MTSS umbrella. And so one example that came up today is how do we use the Panorama dashboard to actually support students across different state legislation, not just to comply with the documentation piece, but also in practice to really drive impact and amplify that work. And so what we talked about today is how counselors thinking about students that were being supported through accelerated instruction for House Bill 4545. Ms. Huddleston and the team and Dr. Gomez encourage the counselors to actually take a look at the whole child and understand where are their growth areas, where are they really succeeding, how do we compare their STAR data from the spring to their last benchmark assessment this fall. Is it actually a learning deficit, or is there something else going on? And making sure that every minute we spend with students is really getting at that personalized need that they have based on their data. And kind of at a more macro level, they also rolled out this year a new framework for thinking about like principal coaching and planning practices. So on a quarterly basis, executive directors, other leaders are going to be meeting individually with principals where they'll talk about and analyze their attendance, their academic and behavioral data, all within the Panorama platform. And really start to think about where are those points of pride in our school buildings, and where might we want to take a step back and think about the future. And so just in summary, as we, before I answer your questions that I hope you have, when we think about like what success looks like, it looks pretty different in every district, but the way that we might think about success is we have our 3 overarching board goals. We have our goal setting frameworks like our community-based accountability system. We have engagement happening. So one goal around engagement is every quarter, a principal has a conversation with a district leader, looks at their data across the APCs, and really takes a systems view at how is our MTSS functioning, how are the different supports we're providing to students aligned across the different areas that we're supporting them. And so this is kind of like a fluid but goal setting happening at each level of the district, starting from the board and then down to the school, and having that alignment through those initiatives that we mentioned earlier can be a really great way to kind of see growth and continue to get better as a district over time. And so just in closing, some potential thoughts around how can we continue to get transparency into the work that's happening in our buildings. We might think about what are the different indicators, and they might come right from data that's housed in Panorama. But what are those indicators that are going to tell us that students are engaged, or that we have a culture of communication, and that our innovative learning spaces are kind of creating that environment for students to really grow? And you could do that through identifying questions in a survey, or looking at trends in our academic data at different board meetings and things like that. So just wanted to leave that with you all. Thank you again for having me, and open it up to any questions you might have.
So, sorry, and I know you're not here to analyze data, but when you're looking at how districts you're involved with, other districts you're involved with, when you're looking at the parameters that we're using in these surveys, which are obviously looking at downstream improvement later based on student-teacher relationships and school climate, et cetera, what are districts looking to what kind of growth are they looking to achieve annually and on 5-year, I guess, in a 5-year stage as well, that is actually reasonable on these surveys? And are they actually achieving that once they know the data is there?
Yep. Did you have a? Yeah. So that is a really great question, and I have what I'm going to try to do is a succinct answer to it. So I think that growth over time, when you're looking at survey data, you need to think about the volume of responses. So if you're getting 50,000 responses to something, I know that you all don't have 50,000 students, but you might see a 2 percentage point increase in that change over time at the topic level, and that's significant. It's practically significant. You might have a goal around student engagement. Maybe we want to grow school climate across students, staff, and family perceptions over 5 years. And we're going to make intentional effort from the district level down to the school level and the classroom level. We might want to grow school climate in 5 years by 15%. And I think that's an attainable goal if you are kind of putting the effort and the backing behind it. So helping to coach principals and thinking about, we have this common goal as a district. What are the 2 questions that are in the survey associated with school climate that we really want to focus our effort around as a building and then up to the district level? And I think that's totally an attainable goal. Whenever you think about goal setting and what's possible, you have to think about like what's proportional to the effort and that you're putting into that specific targeted thing. Otherwise, I think seeing steady increases of like 1 or 2 percentage points over time can also be something to celebrate. So it's just kind of weighing how you're prioritizing it with the outcome that you're seeing. Does that make sense?
So when the surveys are done with parents,
Yep.
and I know that's for growth and for our district, do parents ever see the outcome of the survey?
Yep.
They do? They can?
I understand your question. They can. And we actually, in a meeting this morning, or I guess this afternoon, in Dr. Dethloff's or in the district's office, we were meeting with your communication team and thinking about long-term, as we think about community-based accountability, how are we creating that ongoing cycle? And I think this is like one step of it today, where maybe we're gonna set an expectation that in the fall and the spring, after every survey program, we as a board hear an update on how things went. And we might spotlight 1 or 2 schools that saw tremendous growth in an area that they focused on as a case study, and then also sharing with families across the district, whether they're tuning in here or posting it on your website. A lot of districts are actually creating a website page that is solely dedicated to, this is our survey program, this is why we do it, here's how it aligns to our board goals, and here are the specific actions we're taking as a district, and that can be replicated on the school's website to kind of bring folks into the conversation. So I don't know the answer to your question. I think in terms of like today, are we sending out communication about the results to families? It's definitely something we could do, and we'd be happy to support. Or if you wanted like a public link to just the district to aggregate data, a lot of districts do that, like Austin ISD does that. I think they even have for every school, you can look at their school website and see the link to just the aggregated data. Yeah, so I think when we think about MTSS, and I feel like Ms. Huddleston and Dr. Gomez might have a better answer for you, but I know how to click buttons in our platform really well. And so when you think about it, multi-tiered system of support is so you're gonna have kind of baseline students that are gonna succeed through the common instruction happening in your classrooms. Then you're gonna have students at tier 2 that might need some group support or some other lighter touch supports. Maybe it's behaviorally, and we're working on how do we use our social awareness skills so that next time we have a conflict in the hallway, it's not getting physical, and we're staying in class, we're not getting out of class because we're getting in trouble. At tier 3, you might think about more intensive or individualized support. So maybe we're having a little trouble with phonics. It's impacting us in other areas because learning's about reading. And so we want to actually take a more intentional and individualized approach to what's an evidence-based intervention strategy. So it could be like close reading practice or something like that. How are we progress monitoring? So for the next 4 to 6 weeks, Kevin's going to get pulled out for 30 minutes to practice reading, and maybe that's during an advisory or an intervention block. And how are we actually making sure that that support that we're providing is actually resulting in Kevin getting better and getting ready for the next benchmark assessment that he's gonna absolutely crush. And so it's kind of like, how do we identify those students before they need those more intensive supports? Maybe that tier 3 support for 6 weeks is gonna help them kind of get back up to speed. And it actually brings me back to like the whole idea of this visual, where we're thinking about catch-up growth is in Texas, we're defining it as students that were below benchmark on or failed the STAR assessment last year. Whereas annual growth is, I'm an 8th grader. These are the standards I need to meet in the TEKS by the time I can make it to the 9th grade. But what MTSS allows us to do is use all of our different data sources to say, I need to achieve this annual growth, and I know that there's these certain pieces or skills or standards that a student did not master in the last lesson plan. And so how do we kind of help them continue to grow through that like normal or the trajectory of like universal trajectory that we're setting out for, and then also provide that tier 2 or tier 3 support that's going to help kind of write our path or our trend line so that we're able to keep up and succeed by the end of the year. Does that make any sense?
Kevin, I think that makes perfect sense because this data enables us to see the entire child.
Yep.
And if we, as educators, don't find where their weakness is and build from that, then we will lose them.
Yep.
So I think what you're explaining that Dr. Detloff says is vital for student growth. It's vital for a child to feel successful and to feel that they can get there. Teachers are working hard, and educators and administrators, to allow for all of that to happen.
Yep.
So this data is amazing to be able to get our children where they need to be. And one of the things that you said, as a math teacher, lots of times my students would miss word problems. And when you look at the data and you find out they're not missing that word problem because of math, they're missing it because their reading level is low or they don't understand vocabulary, then you address that need. Whereas if a teacher didn't know that, you would just think that math was an issue. So you're right, and this addresses the entire child. So I think it's a great way to get our kids where they need to be.
Thank you for that example. Any other questions? Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for being here, Kevin. Kevin, where are you from?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Go Celtics.
Did you just...
That's why I wore green.
As an attorney, I would say I'll object to that answer. That's non-responsive. You're from Boston, so you drove down here tonight, and you're driving back tonight. I just wanted to tell you safe
That's
travel.
exactly right. I was wicked excited to do it.
All right. Well,
Notice the wicked.
thanks for being here. You've got Farrah with her green on right there, so that matches it. Yeah.
Thank you,
for coming
Kevin.
here.
Just before we move on to our next report, I want to highlight one of many things Kevin said, and that's just a huge part of this partnership. It's that playbook of intervention strategies. And Mrs. Duncan, I know as a former teacher, you can really see the value in that. If I have a student at tier 2 or tier 3, maybe it's in behavior and I don't know what to do, I can go to this playbook and find specific strategies to use with my students. So again, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Panorama. We're very fortunate for the partnership. Our next report this evening is from Mrs. Christy Diego, our Director of Emergent Bilingual. Mrs. Diego will give you an update on our bilingual program and will share recent highlights from our campuses and students. But first, I'd like to take this time this evening to thank Mrs. Diego for her leadership and dedication. In case you are not aware, Mrs. Diego was recently recognized from the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce with a Diversity Award. She received the Communicator Award for dedication and work in growing the bilingual program and helping these students and families. So with that, please help me welcome Mrs. Diego.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. It is definitely a pleasure to receive that award. Just a testimony to the work that we're doing at SAISD. It's not more me, but it's everybody that has invested in our program and in different ways to reach all our parents. So with that, I will begin. Good evening, School Board and Dr. Detloff. I'd like to present you some information about SAISD Emergent Bilingual Program and why this program continues to be crucial in helping our students equitably achieve their hopes and dreams. Currently, we are serving 821 students. This is 73 more students than we had last year, and a 6% of our student enrollment. Okay, of our 821 students, we have 343 that are considered newcomers. And when we say newcomers, that means that they are within the first 3 years in U.S. schools. Region 15, compared to the rest of the state, shows that we have 6 to 9% emergent bilingual students. With that said, this confirms that SAISD enrollment is within the average for our region. We have 357 in our secondary schools and 464 in our elementary schools. The growth of over 8% in our emergent bilingual population, even in times when we're seeing reduction in student numbers district-wide. This year, we had 10 students that met the exit criteria that are now considered first-year monitored students. This is 50% more than last year. We had a 9th and 11th grade student from Lakeview High School exit the program this year, which is definitely a testimony that our teachers are being trained and moving the work forward in the classroom, as exiting a student at that age is very tough. Many of our new students are newcomers that have come directly from other countries, in which case is it incredibly important for us to connect with them to help them not only academically, but also socially and emotionally. On behalf of our emergent bilingual students, I would like to thank the school board and SAISD for your continued support of the bilingual program that we started 3 years ago at both Glenmore and Bradford Elementary. This year, we are serving 26 pre-K students in this program, which is 76% of our total pre-K EB population in SAISD. We have 44 kinder, which is 66%, 40 first graders, which is 62%, and 30 second graders, which is 53%. I'd like to point out that our numbers and our percentage are getting higher as this program has gone throughout the last 3 years, which I'm super excited about that. And once again, it's a testimony that us here at SAISD are reaching our parents and telling them the benefits of the program and how it's helping our students. One of the main objectives for the students in this program is to be taught to read fluently in Spanish and recognize all letters and sounds. This is such an important first step to creating a strong foundation for reading and understanding their first language. Research shows that children who read in their native language, such in this case is Spanish, will have an easier time learning to read in their second language, such as English. It also says that developing our children's literacy skills in Spanish will make it easier for them to transition to speak, read, and write English in the future. We continue to work diligently with our communication team and others around the community to promote the benefits of the program and messaging to the parents the importance this program is to our emergent bilingual students. One way that we are doing this, we started last year in the spring, and it's called Manos a la Obra, which means let's do this or all hands on deck. And we have partnered with many community resources to come in and present to our families and services, the services they offer and how they can help them. This has been a huge success in which now we have asked to do this twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. Our first one this year was held last Wednesday, November 2nd. I would like to share with you some pictures so that you can see the connections that we are making with our parents and community partners. We want to thank our community partners for offering their knowledge and services to our parents, and we hope to make this bigger and bigger every year. SAISD currently has 25 bilingual certified teachers, of which we currently have 12 serving in a bilingual capacity. We currently have 320 English as a second language, commonly known as an ESL, certified teacher. We currently have 144 serving our students. This is 66% more than last year. Last school year, we had 59 teachers receive their ESL certification. We continue to be thankful to the HR department for recognizing the importance of this opportunity for our district, students, and staff, and for providing the funds for the subs that enable our teachers to attend the ESL test prep training provided not only by Region 15, but as well as us here during our Learning Palooza held at SAISD. The HR department also provides the subs for the teachers for the day they have to take the ESL test. Once a teacher passes the test, they are reimbursed for not only the amount they pay for the test, but also the amount that they have to pay to put it on their SBEC certification. We are looking forward to seeing our emergent bilingual students flourish the years to come as they work toward the goals of becoming English proficient students, as that is our key part of helping them pursue their hopes and dreams. At this time, do you have any questions?
Just a comment. This is a great program, and it's more than what was there when I was in school. I saw so many kids that I went to school with that were just mainstreamed right there off the bat, didn't know any English, and just, you're going to sink or swim. What I like about this is that it's a transitional program. You just, you know, like you said, you learn your native language first, to read and write, and then go on to your second one, and y'all follow them, and then y'all go ahead and, how many kids did you say you had that went over that exited the program?
10 this year.
10 this year, you know, so they're ready to go and get in there. And that's what I like about this program. It's doing great work. Like I said, it's a lot better than what was there before. And what I like the most is that they're just progressing, learning, and then transitioning over, and that's great. So thank you, Christy. It's a great program you have going there.
If I understand correctly, a definition of emergent bilingual student is one that does not know how to read or write in either English or Spanish. Is that correct?
Or any other language.
Or any other language.
Correct.
So, and how old, or what grade do some of these students enter at SAISD? I think you said last year that we had some third or fourth graders that were coming in that did not know either language.
We do. This last few years, we've had a lot of high schoolers come in as newcomers. So we have a big influx in the higher grades now.
And if a student like that comes in, or is that a student that the state says we still need to educate, they still have to take a STAR exam?
Correct. We can only be exempt for the first year.
Wow. All right. So I think you mentioned last year that you were hoping to get more parents attuned to this program so that they would try to bring their children in rather than first or second grade, but bring them in kindergarten. Did we see, I think you were saying that, but did we see success that we got more kindergarten students this year?
We did. We actually started pre-K.
Pre-K?
Yes, sir.
Did we get more at pre-K this year?
We did. Yes. So we had in pre-K, 76% of our population right now are in pre-K.
Okay. And you said some of these students are coming from other countries. Are most the parents have been living here for some time? Or are they just, as soon as they get here, then they're bringing the children in, but some are already second, third, fourth, or high school students when they come? Is that what's happening?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Do you find that those that have been living here for some, say 3 or 4 years, that they are getting their children in at pre-K?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything more the board needs to do to help you get the word out of these parents to get their children enrolled as soon as possible? I know our communication department's probably been working with you, but do you think we're reaching those parents to get the word out if there's anything more that we need to do?
I think just what we've started, when we first started, it was a COVID year, so it was kind of tough, but the messaging, and now that we're having what we call resource night, we're bringing in a lot more parents to hear the messaging. So we're kind of doing a double whammy. We're providing them resources that we think that they need help with, but we're also presenting the program as much as we can and just putting it out there.
I don't know if you have enough data yet, but if a student comes in, say at pre-K, how are they doing when they get to third grade about reading at grade level?
So this year, when we first started the program, the kids are now in second grade. So this will definitely be a year, this year, next year, to get that data.
All right. Do you feel confident that we're going to be close to grade level? I just don't know how long it takes to catch up.
Yes. So in second grade, when they first come in, we do what we call a 70-30. So 70% is in Spanish and 30% is in English at the very beginning. But by mid-year, which is December, we're going 50-50. So they'll do 50% Spanish, 50% English. Most of their English is in reading by then, and their oral literacy. Their social studies is also in English, and most of the math, with some exception of the terms and the vocabulary, but most of it, all the core are usually in English by the time they get to second grade, the second semester.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. I agree with Mr. Gagos. This is a very important program with our demographics that we have in this area of the state. And do you, again, I think you said this, but do you feel these numbers of, not just in our school, but just in our community, that we're we're having more or less or about the same emergent bilingual students?
We're definitely getting more. The difference is right now, a lot of our mores are in secondary. So we're having to push in a lot of supports in our secondary schools because we're getting a lot of newcomers that speak no English. So definitely helps us with the ESL certification, which is part of what I talked about, getting our teachers certified to be able to help our students with the needs that they're coming in with, because that is probably one of the toughest jobs, especially in the ELA or subject.
And I'm sorry, I'm asking you a question because I just don't want to misquote you later. So the emergent bilingual students that are in our pre-K who are identified as emergent bilingual, 75% of those are in our immersion program?
Correct.
Okay. And in first and second grade, it was roughly 50%?
50, yes.
Thank you.
Some are 60%. So.
I was going to ask, are 100% of the students Spanish speaking, or are there so they're all Spanish? We don't have any other languages in our program?
Not in our program. Since we have an early exit program, most of it is Spanish speakers.
Got it. Thank you. Oh, I had one other question too. You had said that there were 25 bilingual certified teachers and 12 of them are serving, and 320 ESL certified teachers and 134 are currently serving. So why aren't there more serving? Do you need more, or what?
So the ones that we consider serving is in the ELA department, but that we do have all core subjects ESL certified. But that's really as the program and as an emergent bilingual, most of your supports go in the ELA classroom.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Ms. Diego? Again, I appreciate you coming and giving us this report.
Of course.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you got to give a bigger ding so I can hear you. Okay.
Please. I just want to say thank you so much for everything you're doing for Manos a la Obra, for this wonderful program. It's amazing. I've been allowed being with them twice, and it's amazing. Actually in Bradford, and the second one it was last week, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was amazing. I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank y'all for the support.
All right, Dr. Gomez, is that complete your portion? Okay. And I don't know if you're coming up, Dr. Bright or Michael Kallenbach. I don't know. All right, you came up also. You're supporting. All right. He's a very shy person. He needs your support. Okay.
I am?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. All right, just a real quick update on safety and security for the district and the initiatives that we started. If you remember, we started this summer talking about how we can put some systems in place that are absent of human error. And so these are a couple of things, just 2 slides, it's not bad. So these are working now, this is great. So one of the things that it still remains to be true about any kind of situation or an event on any campus in our country is that locked doors are still the safest way to keep people safe. It's the best way. So the system we put in place is where we have all of our external doors locked at all times, which is a mandate by the governor. But we put in a system to check them, so our principals and staff are checking them, but also our SROs, our school resource officers, are checking the doors and documenting it. It comes to a live document that will notify us when doors are not being checked. So that's where we're taking out that human element. Even now, I mean, we're in, November, and Uvalde is moving farther and farther away from us. And so this is why we want to protect against just, kind of falling asleep on this thing. So it will notify us to this day, we still do not have a door that has not been checked at least weekly. So the principals and SROs are doing a fantastic job. This is an example of one of the weeks there were 721 doors inspected. This is just to make sure that all the external doors are locked at all times and not being propped open. That's a big deal. So every door was inspected at least twice weekly. That's actually more than what is expected. So we're happy about the way that's been going. And in that particular week, we just had one door that was not unlocked out of the 721. So it's notifying the campus principal, the campus APs, and me whenever we have a door that wasn't locked. So that's really pretty amazing because all of these doors have different mechanisms and they are a little bit tricky to make sure that they're locked and pulled closed, but so they're doing a great job. There are no doors propped open in any of the inspection that week. This is just one example. So we do it weekly so that we can kind of keep track that they're getting checked regularly. We've had 3 of the official TEA intruder inspections. So the one finding that we have to report to the board, and we should because we really want to look at it, was that the door that was open was actually open just 10 minutes prior to the inspection by outside contractors. And so what we're putting in place is a plan to check those, so a system where we can make sure that we are notified when there's an outside contractor, like they're working on phone systems or electricity or plumbing, or it's even our internal maintenance department and technology, so that we know when people from outside the campus are on the campus so that we can check those doors when they leave, because you can't really go and train all of the people that are in companies outside of our district. So we got to put in a system to check when they're on our campuses so that they close all the doors and lock all the doors when they leave. So that's the finding on that. All of the classroom doors internally also have been locked with the exception of one, and that was actually at dismissal. And we've had 3. The latest one was at Crockett. It was a perfect rating, so that was amazing. Ms. Goodnight is doing a fantastic job over there. We've also had half of our tri-annual safety audit that Crux is doing for us. It's required every 3 years, and we've had about half of our schools have been through that. We met with them as a debrief after the first half. They'll do the next ones, the rest in the spring. Where they gave us like really high marks was on our staff confrontation of uncredentialed persons. This is great. Like people are checking. If you don't have your badge on, you're not getting in. That's what's happening. They're catching you and intervening before you get on. Mr. Walters out at Lakeview, and Tony, yeah. So they have 2 people. One meets with the principal, and the other tries to get into the school, is essentially what's happening. And the other guy that's been trying to get into the schools is not having much success, and that is coming down to an A+ rating on that part of it. We thought we were going to have a little altercation till he finally identified himself. It was fine. So also A+ on exterior and classroom doors, as far as their inspections for the audit as well. And then again, that focus on the systems for the outside contractors is our main focus right now, so that we can have a plan for making sure that especially like the gates. So they'll come on to do work with big trucks and stuff, and then they won't lock the gate when they leave. So those are the kind of things that we're working on. Big shout out to our communications department and our whole team as far as working on the new communication system. And that is, I think it's tiny. There's a link there. That's the way we communicate now whenever we have an incident. And so even in this latest one where we had a social media threat at Lakeview, we used this system much better in terms of getting the notification out to all of the parents, but it's very short, succinct on that website, very easy to understand, and you can subscribe to the page as well so that you would be notified when there's updates. So the whole communication system that we've built this year is so much better. And then what's next? The bid is out for the controlled access for the elementary campuses and for Central High School, and that's to make controlled access for the whole campus. So they'll have badges, a system of badges and passes for kids as well. That system also will notify electronically when a door is ajar. So that's a huge thing that will help us with, monitoring these things. Because right now we're checking them all. And once we get the controlled access, then it'll notify us immediately if it's ajar for longer than you would open it and close it. The fencing at Lakeview is in the works. And then we're investigating this silent alert capabilities. And that is where you have a method in every classroom to notify without having to pick up your phone, find the phone, or whatever. It's like a button. There are some grants coming down apparently from the governor. Most of what has happened in terms of the governor's mandate has been unfunded. So that's why we're spending the money that we are to do this work at our campuses. But it's most likely going to be, I don't think I have the language, but they're going to require to have this silent alert system in place. But allegedly there's some grant money that's supposed to be coming with that. We don't know that for sure yet. We'll see. That is it's a very good system for notifying with just a push of a button everybody that needs to be notified. It's a very, very good system. So we're investigating that, looking into the possibilities. We've talked to some people in that business and kind of looking at how we can move forward with that. And then we're continuing to have our command level meetings with first responders. So I meet with our PD and fire department command level people just to keep on the same page with the way that we handle all of these issues and what we might do in case there was an event. And then after action reviews are those like debriefs after there's been any kind of a situation. So that's it. Any questions about security and safety? Again, it's very difficult to measure. Can't measure what we're preventing. So when we think about success here, it's every day where we do not have something happen is a success. So questions?
I just had one on, when you were talking about classroom doors, that they're locked, but do we have like a secondary safety measure for classroom doors? If they open inside, do we have something to lock it plus put something underneath there like wedge it or something to keep anyone from opening those doors if the case arises? If it just locks, and then do we have something secondary if they bust the doorknob off or whatever to get in?
So the PD they advise against those measures because then they can't get in. So if you have that, and if you have those things in there and an intruder gets into the room and is able to use that, then PD can't get into that room even with the key. So they advise against those other kinds of methods of like jamming the door or something. Yeah. In the case of an event, teachers are trained to barricade with all of the furniture and everything. So if there was an event going on, they heard something in the hall or whatever, they are trained to barricade all of the door with all of the furniture, which incidentally I was at the National Safety Conference and superintendents shared who had been through school shootings specifically, and they shared things that you don't hear on the news because they did things the right way and so many lives were saved. And barricading those doors, I mean, it's phenomenal, some of the stories that they told about where so many lives were saved. It just doesn't make the news. And there's so many that we just don't hear about that they caught a kid before anything happened at all because of people notifying. By the way, that's something to note that people are reporting a lot more now.
More aware.
It's a good sign that people are not worried about telling on someone right now. So we're getting lots of information. Kids are telling, parents are calling. So.
One more question. When do we expect the bid from the controlled access to come back?
December.
Thank you.
Mr. Kalmbach, I have a couple things. One is, I know that you've spent a lot of time doing all of this, and I appreciate it because I lay awake at night worrying about the safety of our kids. That is something that we all take very seriously. The question I have, just because I need to know, is at like Central Homes, Carlisle, Newton, are the doors into the building, are they staying locked now?
So we have 72 doors that are staying locked permanently there. And then they have some doors that you can't operate the school,
Yeah.
so they're monitoring those doors.
Okay.
There was no way, we do not have the manpower to monitor all of those doors.
Right.
So we've locked 72 of them permanently, and we're checking those. So they never are opened. The others, they have to keep open like in use, and they're monitoring those until we get the controlled access where it'll be swiped. So the plan will be once we get the controlled access, you can buzz those doors in and open from an external location. Also, they're likely to create a pass system. So if a student has to go from one building to another between classes, they would pick up a pass, swipe it, and go in between.
That's what I was
But-
wondering, how a student would get in the building
Yep.
if they were coming. Okay.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
To operate school this way. It's really taken a lot of effort on the part of our principals to design systems now for all the doors being locked. So, and they're just fantastic. The Crux auditor said that there is no longer a culture of propping doors here in San Angelo. They said they have no evidence of doors being propped open at all. Because that's what typically will happen when you can't get in places. You prop something open and you're carrying something or whatever. And so there just there's no evidence of that, which is a great thing for us. So.
Well, I know the teachers in those buildings do a phenomenal job of keeping their doors locked, and they know how to barricade. They're ready. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you get both your questions asked? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kalmbach. Unless anybody else has questions, I appreciate not just you being here, but all you're doing to, this is your first year to really be head of safety, and you're really have gotten up to steam pretty quickly, and I appreciate that. Okay. Now we're going to go into our action items. Something I did not mention to the audience that may be watching this on Channel 4 that would be in my introductory remarks is that at our pre-agenda meeting last week, most of these items, if not all of them, were discussed, and we asked questions, and so we placed some of these items on a consent agenda, and then others that we will vote on, but we received information on it last week, so I don't want anybody to think that we're not giving it the attention that it might seem that we should be giving. So our first items are consent items. We have consent items A through F. A is consider bid number 22-024% discount off NADA for used vehicles. B, consider bid number 22-025 custodial supplies. C, consider RFP number 22-018 gym floor refinishing budget extension. D, consider appointment of Health Advisory Council for 2022-2023 and 2023-2024 school year. E, consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel for school year 2022-2023. And is there anything on that, Dr. Skelton? So that we'll remove.
I'm sorry, there's four.
There's four that are on it, just no additional ones. Okay, I got it. So we do have that. And then F, consider resolution regarding Region 15 Regional Day School Program for the Deaf Shared Services Arrangement Agreement. So we have consent items A through F. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Move to approve consent items A through F.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gagos, second by Dr. Kingman to approve this agenda item. Do we have any other board discussion? Do we have any public comment? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. We have next agenda item 10, consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for October 2022. This is something we have on every action item.
So I'll make a motion to approve the bills, accounts, and financial statements for October of 2022. But as a note, if you go to the district website and under district and then financial transparency, you can find our checkbook and all of our account statements under our district website under financial transparency.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. Kingman, a second by Mr. Dindal to consider the bills, accounts, and financial statements which we discussed last week. Is there any other board discussion? Is there any public comment? And all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. And then the next agenda item is similar. It's considered proposed amendment for district official budget for the general fund. Anybody want to make a motion on that one?
Move for approval.
And I'll second that. So we have a motion to approve by Mr. Dindal and a second by Mr. Parker. Is there any other board discussion? Any public comment? And all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. I see Dr. Bright now at the podium. Discussion of information regarding the redistricting of single-member trustee election districts after the 2020 census, including proposed plans for redistricting. And we had quite a bit of discussion on this with the person who we had hired to help us with that, and Dr. Bright who's Assistant Superintendent for Business and Support Services and CFO, will be here to present this item tonight.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Parker. And I know she's already left, Christy Diego, but I was going to congratulate her, and I'll catch up with her during the week on her award and everything. But what y'all may not know is she's a former student of mine from Andrews Middle School, Andrews, Texas. And so I'm feeling aged a lot tonight. But and it's amazing what she's achieved despite the education she received in my classroom. So anyway, I congratulate her. And you know what you have. You have somebody very special there, and she does a good job for you. At the conclusion of each census, school districts with single-member district voting blocks are supposed to reevaluate the populations and adjust anything that has shifted. Of course, you know very well that we've had some major shifts in population. And so we hired this Bob Bass to come in, and he's a demographer, and he does this all the time. And he has put together a plan for you to consider. And what we want to do is, you've seen it before, and I think this is a revised plan, some little tweaks since the last one you've seen. And if you're good with it, what we'll do is we'll come back next month with a board resolution and adopt it. We have to do some publications and notices like that, and then we'll be good to go. We'll have to submit it to the elections office by, I think, somewhere in February, so that it will be in place for the next election cycle. So you know what the little tweaks are, most likely, and I'll just turn it over to y'all for any discussion.
I would say, when do we need to vote on it next month?
Yes, sir. We have to put some notices in the paper, and so our shot will be December board meeting.
And what I would suggest, if any board members have questions tonight, to be sure to ask them, but if not, to be sure to study the maps and to get with Dr. Bright if you have any thoughts or concerns, because Mr. Bass had said he can draw other plans, give us some other options if we need them. He gave us, I think, what we're going by is Plan A. Some of us have looked at Plan A, and I think we feel, some feel comfortable with it, but others may need more time. But the point is, if you do have questions, or if you can't read the map, or you have any concerns with what you do see or the changes, to be sure to get with Dr. Bright so he can get with Mr. Bass if need be. Anybody have any questions? What it amounts to, and I think Dr. Bright mentions it, is that all of us have districts that we serve, and we're trying to balance out all the districts that they have the approximate same number of students, but we have two districts that we call minority districts, and we don't want to change anything that would prevent them from continuing as minority districts if possible. So we have to, as we do make the changes, Mr. Bass told us that he had to not only change students to add or subtract students from one district to the other to balance it, but he also wanted to try as best he could to maintain minority percentages in those districts. So it's pretty complicated, and he uses, I think, a computer system to make that work. And I think most of us thought he did a pretty good job with his first effort that took him a long time to get done, and he'd just given us homework to study this to see if there were any questions we had, and he said that he could provide us more options if we needed them. So that's still, I think, the homework, but we do need to give him as much time as possible if we need to look at other options. So please get with Dr. Bright. You might send us an email, somebody, Becky, just to see if there's going to be any follow-up, if anyone has questions or if anybody does want another option proposed, so that we can go forward on this in December if possible.
Very well said, Mr. Parker. And if you need some street level detail, we actually have street level detail maps, but we don't want to get you in the weeds tonight for sure. But give me a call and you can come look at them anytime if that's bothering you.
That's one question I was going to suggest, because, every year, or every so often, we'll look, or someone will call and you start looking at single member District 6, for example, mine. You'll look at the color and you're zooming in and you're looking at this and you're zooming in going, okay, that looks like the right curve of the street, so yes, you are in my district. So is there any way we can make that better, where, I guess on our website, if we were to put that on, because the one on our website, that's what you got to do.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
All right, we're taking no action. This was just a discussion, so I appreciate you being here, Dr. Bright. Is everyone ready to go forward with the agenda? Okay. The next is also Dr. Bright, consider financial integrity rating for San Angelo Independent School District, a public hearing.
Well, this is a time for celebration for the school board here in the district. For the 20th year in a row, the district has achieved a superior, or actually the highest rating that you can get on the first annual rating. That's the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. And I think further to note further is that the district's had a perfect score. The expectation is that we get superior achievement. That is what drives us, and that needs to be your expectation as well from the board standpoint. You expect us to achieve that, but don't take it for granted. And I'm telling you, don't take the 100 score for granted either, because it's easy to make a little, it's not an error or anything, but something can change financially and it costs you some points. It won't do anything really bad, but enjoy this. You have a lot of people behind the scenes that do great work for you, and a lot of it is your leadership as well. You demand us to have excellence, and we need to deliver. And so congratulations, 20 years in a row. It's fantastic.
How long have you been, were you with our district?
17.
17?
Well, I think I was here the first year.
Well, that's what I was thinking also.
Yeah.
So I think part of this, as you know, it's somewhat like we heard some things with Tony Walker that for blank number of years we've won region in gymnastics, but that's not always been true. And we get on a roll and we take it for granted, and we're on a roll with our finances, but I can remember a time that, as I may have mentioned before, that before I was on the board, before Lanny was on the board, that there were headlines that the school district doesn't know where $4 million is. So there was times that we did not have high financial accountability system ratings, and I'll give Dr. Brad a lot of credit for helping us get that straightened out. So, and being here for 17 years before he went off for a few years, and now he's coming back to help us for a while. Well,
Well, listen, you know I appreciate that, but I will not accept credit for any of this because we have a great team behind the scenes that make this happen. You know that.
I agree, and I'm only holding you for 5 more years. So, and I do appreciate you for that.
I don't want to mess up this perfect record.
So, at any rate, is this something we have to take action on, or is this just something that we're just discussing and recognition of it? And I appreciate that, and I agree. It's something if we don't work at it, it won't happen. And we've got our job as the board team is just to make sure that we have good people hired in our financial department to help this continue, and we're trying to continue to do that, and we do appreciate you being here to help us as we go through another transition, Dr. Bright, to make sure that we stay on this. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. All right, we have one bid that we need to consider, and we wanted to put it on the action items just because it is something that also has to do with security, and we want our stakeholders to know what we are doing, and this goes in line with Mr. Kalmbach, what he was mentioning earlier. And this is consider bid number 22-021, security fencing and installation. Mr. Henry.
Thank you all for having me here tonight. Tonight I bring you bid number 22-021, security fencing and installation. During the evaluation of our campuses for our security upgrades, it was decided we needed to enclose campuses without fencing and increase the height of those fences to 8 feet where required. This proposal is for the removal and disposal of old fencing at Bonham Elementary and the installation of new fencing at 4 sites: Altaloma Elementary, Bel Air Elementary, Lakeview High School, and Central on Oaks. We received 2 competitive bids on this project. A committee scored all responses. Twin Mountain Fence Company was the bidder with the highest score and proposed the lowest cost of $198,713.12 that included a $6,000 owner's contingency. The administration recommends contracting with Twin Mountain Fence Company of San Angelo for the removal and disposal of old fence at Bonham Elementary and the installation of new fencing at 4 sites with the option to add additional work as needed. Do y'all have any questions over that?
What were the dates as part of this bid for installation?
They're planning on having it all, the majority of it done by the end of Christmas break is what they're shooting for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you may have said it, and it may say it here, but it's 8-foot fencing. But what type of fence? Is cyclone wire? What is it?
It's chain link fencing. Part of it's chain link, part of it's wrought iron. What we did is anything that was front facing of the school, we put as wrought iron. If it was on the peripheral or in the back, we put chain link fencing.
Chain link. Okay. All right. I'll make the motion that we approve administration's recommendation to contract with Twin Mountain Fence Company of San Angelo for the removal and disposal of old fencing at Bonham Elementary and the installation of new fencing at the 4 sites that Mr. Henry mentioned, with the option to add additional work as needed.
Second.
Have multiple seconds by Mr. Dindal and Mr. Gallegos to go along with my motion. Is there any other board discussion? Did you make a motion too, Lupita? All right, Lupita's there too. I'm going to have to get you an air horn, where you can blow an air horn, and I know you're down there, so I appreciate it. So we have 3 seconds then, Ms. Royal also. So is there any other board discussion? Is there any public comment? If not, I'll call it for vote. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you.
We're going to go into closed session for a few minutes according to Dr. Detloff to discuss personnel, and I'll let you find that number. Do you remember the?
Yes, sir. 501-074. Yes, sir.
All right. And before we go, I'll just mention that the announcements is our Finance and Pre-Agenda Workshop is December 5, 2022, and our regular board meeting is December 12, 2022. And with that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. We're back from closed session. We took no votes. We took no action. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.